Well, with just 3 weeks until the election, the major parties today officially kicked off their campaigns, with both Albanese and Dutton taking to the stage to pitch themselves to voters, and firmly in their sights, those with a dream of buying their first home.
Two houses, both alike in visibility, officially launching their campaigns. The PM in Perth.
My fellow Australians, at this election we are asking for the opportunity to keep building.
The opposition leader on the opposite side of the country.
This election isn't just about the next 3 years, as you know. This election outcome will define the decades to come.
While the events took place on the far left and far right of the country respectively, the leaders themselves were trying to occupy the same ground, the PM who will make housing more affordable.
In Australia, home ownership should not be a privilege you inherit if you're lucky. It should be an aspiration that Australians everywhere can achieve.
I will be a Prime Minister who restores the dream of home ownership.
Labor's big promise, $10 billion to build up to 100,000 new homes, exclusively for first home buyers, with the homes to be built over 8 years.
No competition from property investors, just a fair crack for young Australians.
Plus the expansion of an existing program which will now allow all Aussies to purchase their first home with just a 5% deposit and avoid lenders' mortgage insurance. Currently, LMI costs the average buyer around $23,000.
You won't have to pay a single dollar in mortgage insurance. If you're looking to buy your first home, Labor's got your back.
Peter Dutton dropping a radical new policy of his own, tax-deductible mortgages for first home buyers. It means the interest paid on a mortgage for a newly built home will be tax-deductible for 5 years, but only on the first $650,000 of the mortgage, and only for individuals making up to $175,000, or couples with a combined income of up to $250,000.
The announcement that we make today reflects the reality for young Australians so that they can get onto the property ladder and that they can have that security as they raise a family.
The policy would see those on average incomes around $11,000 a year better off, or $55,000 over 5 years.
I'm not going to allow Anthony Albanese's trashing of the housing market to continue.
So, with both sides making big, bold promises to aspiring home buyers, will any of these policies actually shelter us from the housing crisis?
Well, let's ask Brendan Coates from the Grattan Institute. Brendan, you've just heard both pitches from both parties. Which leader just solved Australia's housing affordability crisis?
I think it's unfortunate to say that neither leaders solved the crisis. These are both policies that try to help some first-home buyers. They'll probably push up prices. On points, you'd probably give it to Labor, though, because of the extra policy of trying to build another 100,000 homes by giving money to the states and other developers to get more housing built.
Well, Peter Dutton's plan to make interest payments on mortgages tax deductible is a bold change. What impact do you think that would have?
I think it's telling this is a policy that no, serious economist has been pushing for, to make mortgage payments tax deductible. It's going to help middle to higher income earners the most, because deductibility obviously benefits those on higher tax rates. It will allow some people to be able to pay more for a home, basically because they will no longer have to, they'll be able to get those deductible repayments at the end of the year. It is focused on new homes, which is a positive of the plan. But ultimately, we'd expect it would probably help some first-home buyers into the market faster, but probably many of those that would have bought a home anyway.
Brendan, what about Albanese's policy to allow people to buy their first home with just 5% deposit? Now, I'm not an economist, and no one's ever accused me of being. I didn't need to say that. But is that going to open things up for people who have been struggling to get on the property ladder, or will it have a negative effect and maybe push prices up?
Well, that guarantee scheme's already available, and what they've done is they've relaxed the income limits, so $125,000 for singles, $200,000 for couples. Now you can qualify for the scheme even if you're earning above that. That means the extra people who will gain access are probably those on middle to high incomes that are likely to be able to buy a house anyway. So again, it's the same story. We're pushing more support to first home buyers. It will boost rates of home ownership marginally. It will push up prices, albeit probably only a little bit. And this one won't have an impact on supply, whereas the mortgage deductibility plan from the Coalition would, because it's limited to first home buyers that buy a new home.
Brendan, I'm imagining, though, if you're a young Australian, you're trying to buy your first home, maybe an apartment, it sounds a bit like anything any government or prospective government puts up, economists, experts take a big dump on it and say this isn't going to work. If you are in that position, wouldn't some of this stuff be at least interesting to you?
Certainly, it's going to be attractive. If you're someone that can access these schemes and you say, well, look, great, I can buy a house 2 years earlier, that's going to be attractive, or 5 years earlier than you otherwise would. The question that you've got to consider, though, is what's it going to do to prices overall if everyone else who I'm competing with in the market has access to these same benefits, and the impact is to push up prices for everyone.
But isn't it the case that there's a lot of things that make it attractive, maybe even easier for older Australians to do that? And when we talk about policies that help younger Australians, all the policy experts come in and say, no, this doesn't help.
Well, I think the main beneficiaries here are probably going to be those older Australians selling their homes to younger Australians who are buying them for the first time. So the benefits largely flow to those vendors.
But Brendan, don't we want some older Australians to sell their homes, to downsize, so that younger Australians can get access to those properties?
So, Hamish, we certainly do want that. But if we're not actually building more homes, then we're just seeing greater competition for the same number of homes from a larger number of cashed-up buyers if first-home buyers have more money in their pockets. This probably does, at the margin, mean slightly higher rates of home ownership. It probably means slightly fewer investors. But unless we're in a world where we're actually building more, then we're not going to see more Australians being able to afford a home, getting into it, enjoying that dream of home ownership, and house prices stabilising.
OK, Brendan Coates, thanks for your time.
Thank you.